Welcome to the ENVI tutorials part 3, setting up the simulation. This is a continuation of part 1 and 2, and in this part I will show you how to set up the parameters for the simulation in ENVI version 4. The first thing we need to do is to create a new simulation file. We do that by using the project wizard. We already have defined our design space, our folder space, which is the tutorial series. I will use this, and then we'll create a new blank configuration file for our simulation file. In part 1 I already went through these in the overall sense, and now I'll just go through them in the case of our simulation. Now we'll select one of our 3D files. These are the files we created in the spaces module. I'll just select this one, and here we see a preview of our file we did in part 2. We can edit it in the spaces module, or we can afterwards update it if we want to. Click next. We need to define a name for our simulation task. We'll just call it simulation series input file or input, and we can call this for the name for the generation, new simulation tutorial, and we can click next. Here we define our date in which we want to start the simulation and at which time, and we can set the amount of hours which we need to evaluate. I will just place these as default values, and I will place the default values of the receptors and the buildings, and the change. I don't want to change these numbers anyways. Press next. The wind speed, we can set this as the standard, which I will just do here for the sake of this tutorial. But in this is like a light breeze, we can put it up to 9 or 12 meters per second or something like that. Makes sense. However, you want to look into some weather data to actually know the direction of your wind and the speed of the wind in that condition. And I can set the temperature of the outside. It seems kind of alright to set a temperature of 22 degrees in the summer solstice, and the humidity I will just set that as the default values. I will also just use the simple forcing method and without actually forcing temperature and humidity. I will not edit any of these models and just take the default values. I won't edit one of these, and the soil and plants, I won't go into the details about how you can change the soil layers, but these are also optional. I will just use the default values again. Pollutant dispersion, I will not simulate any dispersions, so we'll just take the default values, and I won't set any expert settings. You can watch part 1 to actually have an idea what all of these settings are, if you want to go into the details about that. Then I will just save my simulation, and it's found this tutorial project system simulation, and it sets this as a simulation file. So I'll save it, and then I'll just switch it off here. Now we want to run our simulation. We can either do this in the very small simulation environment, or the very large, or the middle type. I will just take this as an example. We need to set our tutorial series directory, and we need to load our simulation file. We call it new simulation. Then open this. Now it knows the area and the author name, and now we can just run the simulation here, and it will start running. This might take some time, And to begin with, you will see it loads the model, and then it starts calculating the vectors. After that, it will start simulating, and it will take around, at my machine, it takes around 1 hour per hour. So you can expect 24 hours is almost 24 hours of simulation.